Washer and dryer has been moved. This has been peeled back. You see what I have to deal with, all this stuff. And this is why I'm doing the self-level in 4 separate sections. I have to just move everything around. So on this video, we're gonna be focusing on the washer and dryer section. If you guys saw my other video where I did the self-level, we're doing the same. We're gonna be building a form right along this line first. Then we're going to be painting that with concrete weld. And then we're gonna be putting the concrete and then the self-level. But first, we need to build this form. Before I apply the concrete weld, I want to show you guys why I am putting sand mix first. So right here, this line right here is what divides the self-level with the concrete that I put first, the maximizer. So there is about 3/4 of an inch over there and about an inch over here. As you start coming this way, this inch becomes a 1/2 inch over here. That's why I can't use the cement with pebbles in it. So, and over here, as you can see, it's 3/4. And as you come over here, this section of the floor is it's like a 1/2 inch, where maybe a little bit less than a 1/2 inch of what we have to build. So that's why we're using that sand mix in this area. But this form is looking really good. Really happy with how it came out. Really solid. It's a couple of clamps. That's all you really need. So let's start putting this concrete weld. Now that that's painted on, all that's left to do is to let it dry. In the meantime, I'm gonna go and get the concrete. I don't have it on hand, so I have to go and buy it. So I'm gonna go and do that now. I'm on my phone now, walking to go get the sand mix cement. I borrowed a hand truck from a friend of mine, and this is what you gotta do when you don't have a car. My wife took the car, so now I have a hand truck. And I have to do 2 trips of 6 bags each to bring the cement home, 3 blocks. This is what you gotta do, man. This is what you gotta do. I want you guys to see the things that I have to go through to get this basement done and why it takes so long and so many steps. Six bags, 3 blocks. Let's do this. So now that I have the cement bags here, I have a cup that measures how many cups I need for each bag of cement. It's gonna be 12 cups of water for each bag of mix. I'm gonna set the laser and I'm going to put a chalk line for the cement line. I want to keep the cement at a 1/2 inch below the 24 inches. So 24.5 is the limit. So I'm gonna snap that line and then start mixing. ran into a little slight problem. I'm definitely not going to use all these bags of cement. It turns out that in this area, we are at 24.5 inches. In this area over here, we only have to put like 1/2 inch down. So it looks like we are only gonna be concreting this over here. And then the self-level will fill the rest of this area up. So let me just start mixing, and I guess we'll just go with the flow. I'll keep the laser on and I'll just be measuring it in every spot. So it's gonna look weird, but let's get it done. It's the next day and I did some prep on the floor. Now that it's dry, I gotta be honest, putting down this sand mix was a nightmare. It was difficult. This stuff is stiff, so you need to push it into place. And then if it was too thick, you have to like scrape it off. It was bad, man, but the work is done. We are at 24.5 inches. That means that the self-level, when I pour it, is going to be 1/2 inch thick. So we're going in the right direction. So let me show you what I did. I put some caulk so that the self-level won't go to the other side of the wall. I also struck, let me see if you can see it over here, a chalk line so that I know where to stop. Same thing on this side. And I put this here because this is a 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. And that's the gap that I want. So I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna put something heavy on top of it to weigh it down. And then when I pour it, this gap should be like that. And if it's not, let's see. This is the first time I'm doing this. I don't know if it's gonna work. So yeah. So the next step is to mix the glue, which is called milk, for the self-level, and roll it on. So let's do that.
Now it has come to the time where I'm going to be pouring the self-level. That's me mixing it thoroughly. As I start pouring it, I really want you guys to focus on this corner right here and look at how that dimple stays in the self-level. And that is what's going to give me a big time headache. Here I grabbed the laser measurer to see the height and make sure it's at 24 inches and everything's looking good. Using every little bit of self-level, can't let that go to waste. And as you guys see me mix this self-level, look at how I focus on that corner. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and that's a corner that gave me a super big headache because I didn't know how to resolve that dimple because of the mistakes I made on the last one. But as you guys just saw there, I just put a little bit of drops in it and I'm playing a lot with it. And like I said in the last video, this self-level is rapid set and you can't be playing with it so much. So what you guys are gonna see now is me playing with it. Look at me, look at me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I come back, guess what? I play with it some more. It's ridiculous.
Now that I did some prep work and took off the form, sanded the edges and took off the border to separate the old self-level from the new self-level. You guys probably saw it already, but it didn't come out too well. And there's a couple of things that I could blame. Number one, starting with myself, because I'm not a pro at doing this. I'd like to do things myself. It doesn't always come out how I want it to, but that's it with the excuses. But let me show you what is messed up, where I messed up, and how I messed up. So let's start with this side. So as you can see, there's a dividing line here with some sloshes there. I had to drop some here, some extra. There was a divot here. Same thing over here. There is a split. And the reason why you see a split there and a split there is that 3 bags of self-level. So 1, 2, 3, and they all broke up there. The only way to avoid this from happening is literally mixing 3 bags in 1 bucket. So getting a huge bucket, mixing it, and pouring it. And you won't get this breakup. But you gotta pour it all in one shot. Since I am alone and I'm doing it alone, this is what I get. Which is weird because I didn't get it on that side, the breakups. But I think that I got this because of the area that I was working on, which was here. And that brings us to the worst part, which is here. As you guys can see, there is a lump here and the color is different. You can see where I blobbed it on. The reason why I did that is because there was a divot here. So I threw this on top and the material didn't sink down, it just sat there, and that's what we get. Over there, I got some water from the washer and dryer pipes that fell on there. That's gonna be covered, but that's what I got. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like to have everything come out nice, beautiful, smooth. I like to walk into the space and say, wow. It's the main reason why I do not tape and I do not paint, because I don't do that well. And it takes time and it takes patience to cut those corners, to tape. You gotta sand. You sand too much. I always sand too much. But that's why I don't do these things. This thing I wanted to do myself because I actually do enjoy working with concrete. I do enjoy working with self-level, but I'm not good at it. But it is what it is. So the next step now is to seal this floor. 2 coats of sealant. We're gonna seal it and then protect it. And then I'm gonna put the washer and dryer back. I might put this piece of sheetrock back, but let's see how it goes. So let's start sealing this floor. So cosmetically, this area is done and it's not gonna get any better than what it is now. Now that the sealant has been applied, to be honest, it looks better. Not what I was expecting, to be honest, but it is what it is. I did the work, I'm proud of it. This area came out really bad. And you guys saw, but it's all right. It's a basement floor and that's how we gotta look at it. So that's gonna be it for this video. Did the floor turn out how we wanted to? Not really. Did I do it myself? Can I have some pride in what I did? Yes, I can. But there's a lot to do in this room. We can't focus on what we did wrong too much because it's gonna drive me nuts, and I can't go nuts because I have a lot to do. And on the next video, what we're gonna be doing is the drain. So if you want to see that, consider subscribing. If you learned something new, you can let me know by giving me a like. If you have any comments or questions on anything you saw, on anything, let me know in the comments down below. And like I said, if you guys want to see that drain and what I'm gonna do with it
an idea that I've been boiling up in my head for the past couple of months, consider subscribing. And I truly hope to see you guys on the next one. Thanks.